Them know the podcast, so the thing go. You know, we're there again with my brother them. We're there for another edition of the show and thing. You don't know it go already. We're there with Mr. Razor. We're there with Demby. I'm here with T. T, what go on? How everything with you?
Going good, going good. Having a great day.
They are going good for you.
Yeah.
So what you do for the day, man? Since it's going so great for you, what you do for the day?
This is my mom's birthday, and I took her out to brunch, and we both got treated. So that just means it's gonna be an amazing day. She
Mommy
don't know
T's
yet. We got a
birthday.
got a surprise birthday party for her. She don't know about it.
Mommy got
Yeah,
So
big
man.
whole
Yeah,
heap of
man. Big
we're
up,
excitement.
man.
doing that later on tonight.
Sorry for go whole heap of excitement, man. Tell mommy happy birthday,
Mhm.
mommy T. Happy birthday.
I
Yeah,
will
man.
tell her that.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
Big up, moms. Big up,
you don't
moms.
know that guy
Thank
already.
you.
Demby, where you deal with? What go on at the city?
Yes, my brother. You don't know things that man. City is the city, you know. Just have
Mm,
to go on, hold it down still. Big up Shervin, my brother. Hold yourself down. You see it?
don't know the thing already. You know the city now say I until it warm still. So you know,
You know that.
no my thing set already. Mr. Razor, walk
Yes,
along.
yes, 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 yes. My day here upon the
Everything
set
proper.
again. Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
The people them say you love say
Remember.
yes, 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 and yeah man, yeah man.
But I want to tell the people them something that hear me. I tell them say I want to like, subscribe, and share. You know. I remember so left a comment too. Yeah, man.
Definitely, that is first and foremost. Soon as you touch the page, like, comment, share, subscribe. You don't know the whole thing, go. But yeah, we're going at the in our topic for the day. So we're there with the family. The topic for the day is do we condone beating our kids in public or beating our kids around their friends? Do we condone that? Yeah. Well, I like to hear I would say them, but we'll start with T first, because I want to hear the ladies' perspective first. Because I kind of feel like I know where some of the guys are going to go with it. So let me hear the ladies' perspective first.
Okay, so I'm gonna say something that I know black people about to hate me for, but I don't think, um, and I've learned you don't have to actually hit a kid,
What?
private or public,
What is this?
to
No, I'm just playing.
we you have to think about it. I did a lot of thought into this. You know
Uh-huh.
what I mean? We as black people were always looked at as violent. We're always looked at as, we hit,
Definitely.
to solve our problems. But we
Mm-hmm.
were taught that.
Yes,
You
from
you
slavery
understand?
days,
We
definitely.
were taught that from slavery, and we took that, and the man beat his wife and the wife beat her kids, you know what I mean? And there's just a long line. Like you can get someone to do something without hitting them,
Mm-hmm.
and when you think about it, like we like, oh, they're kids, but that can be damaging, you know what I mean? It can really be damaging. And
Okay.
I've hit my kids, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But my youngest, my daughter, she does not, you know what I mean? And that's a an
Decision that you
example
made,
of it,
yeah.
yeah, like I did it with my boys. I was taught that. I was beat. You know what I mean? Like that's just what we were taught. And I did that with them, but I didn't get results from them when I gave them other methods of punishment. You
Yeah.
understand? Like when I
Mm-hmm.
thought about it, like I remember I got my butt whooped. That was nothing. I go do what I want to do, curl up in a ball, get my butt whooped, and then walk it off. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Tough it out.
Punishment and taking stuff and having them actually sit and think and ponder on what they did, you'll get a better result from that. Like,
Definitely.
and that's just kind of where I went. Now, when if you do discipline your kids, it shouldn't be public. And now it's getting to the point where parents are using technology.
Beating their
You know
kids
what I
on
mean?
Instagram, on
And
Facebook.
beating them on Instagram or even punishing them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like how are you gonna make? I don't get what you're gaining from that. Like, why to publicly humiliate your child? Do you not know how damaging that can be mentally
Mentally,
to
yeah.
somebody? You
Definitely.
know what I mean? Like, and you're trying to get brownie points because you're showing them this is how you discipline your child. No,
Mm.
you're whack. Like, you don't have to do that. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Forget the law being called on you. You just don't have to publicly do it. Like, you get that pinch, pinch that kid. Like,
Let me play old days. Let me play old days. Devil's advocate. What if the kid is just too bad, and they just won't listen, and they just won't follow follow what you're saying, no matter how much punishment and how much stuff you do.
that's not just, that means that you know what, you got a bad kid before you go in public.
Mm-hmm.
Don't take that bad motherfucker nowhere. You know what I mean? Oh, sorry. PG. But don't
Yeah.
take them, no. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's not like your kid just gets out in public and just all of a sudden you see a whole new kid. You know what your kid is capable of doing. You know what I mean?
So what you're saying?
Sometimes
This is
pull them to the
basically
side.
like the kid has been trained that way already. So when you bring him out to the
Yeah,
streets, he's just exhibiting that actions that he
yeah,
does at home.
yeah, exactly. If your kid is at home bouncing around everywhere, your kid ain't gonna go in public all of a sudden and
And be the
straighten
good
up.
kid. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, that starts at home. You gotta really, you know what I mean? Sit with them, figure out what you gotta do to get that kid right. I mean, apparently you whooping their butt ain't working because they still going out in public acting a fool,
So
and now you looking like a fool because you beating your kid in public, and everybody looking at you
everybody
talking.
looking
You know
like a
what I
fool
mean?
out there. Yeah.
Yeah, people. I mean, people are gonna talk about you if your kid's acting up and you don't hit your kid. They're gonna talk about you. You know what I
Definitely.
mean? If your kid is acting up and you beat your kid, they still gonna talk about you.
Mm-hmm.
Someone may even call the law on you. You know what I mean? People gonna talk no matter what.
I'm
So
one of those
take
people
that
that
out the
might call the law on you.
equation. I mean, sometimes like, put it this way, right? I'm at work. I work the pediatric clinic, sick clinic on the weekend, right? So I'm going out there calling the patients back. I call this little kid, little white kid. This kid hauls off and throws a freaking book at me.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like, I dodged it, like, shoom, I dodged it, but his mom's
His
like,
mom smiled.
why would you do that? No,
Little
she was like, why would you do that?
Richard.
This boy is in the middle of the floor. He hit his mama. I'm like, of course he ain't gonna respect me. He don't even respect his mama.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
I mean,
but
I think it's a different. I think they have a different type of way how they deal. Well, some of them have a different type of way with how they deal with their kids than we do. I sometimes I watch it out in public and I'm like, oh boy, you know,
hmm
they
they get to
those kids
calling the
make
whole
you want to
name.
beat kids. Yeah, you like this little mother.
They
Yeah,
call the whole name. You
shoot,
know what I mean?
man. Like you want to throw something to hit him. Like, man, if you don't stop. But I think what if a parent, right? You're in a
hmm
relationship and one parent wants to beat the kid and the other doesn't want to beat the kid. How you solve that problem?
That's actually what changed my mentality.
Okay.
Is my kid's father. You know what I mean? Like, I came from a background where you getting it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All of us, you know what I mean? Mommy dearest, like, my mom gave it to us hard when we were young. So it was like I was quick to hit my kids for anything, you know what I mean? Like, they touch something, pop, I'm popping, I'm popping. And he's like, yo, what are you doing? He came from a totally different background where
Yeah.
he wasn't getting it like that. You know what I mean? He did get a beat in here and there, but he didn't get it the way I got it.
Yeah.
And he kind of opened my eyes more, you know what I mean? But that's just a part of parenting. Like, those are y'all's children together. It's not one person's child.
Yeah.
So y'all have to find that median on how you're going to raise your children, you know what I mean?
Yeah, especially
Which
when
means
you're in the
I
same
had to
house.
accept part.
It's kind of
Yeah.
rough when you're in two different houses. It's rough. But when
Nah,
you're in the
man.
same house, you can make
Nah.
a
Nah.
you can make a decision
I
on what's
could
going on.
we could do a whole little co-parenting 101 class for people, man. Like, me and my kid's father, the way we raise our kids, like, people think we're together,
Mm.
you know?
Well,
Like, our kids
uh,
they didn't lose that family unit. Like, we made that choice to have kids together. We gonna do this for the long. That person with you forever.
yeah, you do. You do have a eternal connection when you have kids with somebody,
Yeah.
whether the kid is dead or alive. I want to ask Demby, how do you feel about beating your kid out in public or around his friends?
Well, first off, I do believe kids should get beaten if it's warranted. I
Yeah.
do believe that. But
Mm-hmm.
but front of his friends are public, no.
Don't
Not
believe that.
happening.
Yeah.
Like, no, I'm not gonna remember, your kid is a little person, and they got feelings and everything,
Yeah.
And what the last thing I want to do, especially me having a son, is emasculate me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I would never do that. No. When he gets home, I'm gonna tear his butt up. And
Or in
that's
a
that's
car.
just well, not a car. If I'm in the car, I can't really reach around and really give him the full
The full. Oh, you want to give
slapping
the
when
full? Oh, okay. I like beat him the
he-
half a slapping sometimes, because sometimes I feel bad myself after I beat him.
well, I definitely like most I love when your kid you hurt when you beat them, but sometimes it's just a message and
You have to
a
do it.
kid
Yeah.
know. Yeah, a kid know when they do wrong, when you beat them, this for that, But when you take it out to public, now you're making a spectacle of yourself and your
Yeah.
child.
Yeah.
And I'm not,
Definitely.
and I'm not with that. I'm not going to make a spectacle of my child
Or
just
myself.
because or myself to try to do what curb a behavior when all along I should have been curbing
Curving
the
that
behavior in the
behavior.
home.
Yeah. The same thing what T was saying earlier. You know
Right.
the behavior of your child. So, it's just ignorance.
Exactly.
It's just straight ignorance when you go on the street and you wanna whoop your child in the middle of the aisle in Walmart when you knew he was gonna come in there and roll on the floor if you ain't bought him the Snicker bar. So either you make up your mind and buy him the Snicker bar or don't bring him. you know?
Give him that pinch. You gotta pinch him right in the
Yeah, man.
collarbone,
Yeah.
man, real hard. Grr.
Yeah. So yeah, I said
So,
Demby.
yeah. Yeah, so now these things, you definitely have to curb them behavior before they go out
Yeah.
on the street. Because the thing is, my son knows, listen, if you do something which he been a good, I ain't gonna lie, I got, I'm lucky, you know what I'm saying, and I've been,
Blessed.
raised in the right way. So yeah, so he knows like, don't even play that. And I haven't beat my son in years
Yeah.
just because of how I curb the behavior. So it's like, if for some reason he decides to act up, once I said, yeah, that's it. We're not going to talk about this no more, and it's not debatable. So, definitely not in public, definitely not around his friends, because now it turned into a bully issue, and an
Yeah.
issue where when he got to deal with
Friends
kids
laughing at
bullying him
him
and
and
stuff.
talking about him getting a
Right,
beating in front. Yeah. I,
right. So now you letting off some kid, you turning your kid into a terror now because what he gonna do? He might have to pop somebody in the
yep.
mouth just
Yeah.
to stop,
Or
and
he's
it's
the kid that's getting so much pressure, you know. He got to try and hide from it or try to take himself away from it, and you don't want that either.
yeah, and you don't want that either. And with the high,
Suicidal
you
rate.
know,
Yeah.
that going on. No, I'm never gonna put my kid in that predicament. But trust me, in the household,
Take
you
that.
best believe. You best believe.
Take that.
Yeah, that's my thing. Yeah,
uh, yo, so
Yeah,
Mr.
man.
Razor. Oh no, before we go to
Yeah.
Mr. Razor, Demby. So if you're in a relationship and the other parents either don't want to beat the kid or want to beat the kid and you're against it, how you go about handling that?
well, listen, I just feel like that's a decision you make before you have a kid, 'cause
With
you
a
can't. You
person,
have
yeah,
to
you have
know.
to know the person.
You got to know that because
Okay.
okay, I can't tell my kid mother what to do with her child.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You understand?
And she can't
We
tell
can
you
talk,
what to do with your child.
and she definitely can't tell me what to do with my child. So if after a certain situation, let's say she don't want to beat him, then we can have a conversation and say, well, I think this is this, but if she still hold on to her views, I respect it.
Mm-hmm.
If she beat them in front of people, as upset as I would be, I would just have to have a conversation and say, look, this is from a different side of it, you don't have to do this. You
Yeah,
understand?
not in front of
But
people,
yeah,
yes, sir.
I would disagree in front of people, but yeah, you can't tell one half of the child, to don't do this. No, I don't believe in that thing. I don't tell people what to do and nobody tell me what to do. So that's just
Mm.
me.
You make a good point there, draw from that. That's a very valid point because as a parent, you don't want the next parent to be telling you, "I don't think that the kid should be on
Mm-hmm.
punishment," or "You punish him too long." That's
Right.
that's that's nonsense. As
That's nonsense.
co-parenting, you're supposed to back up my my what I'm doing, and then we can talk about
Right.
that later on. But if you making it seem like you're the hero for the kid, and then the other parent is the villain, that's also bad parenting.
Bad.
Yeah,
Terrible.
Yeah,
Terrible. Yeah,
horrible.
terrible.
but yeah, I
And
look at.
kids are smart too. They'll pick up on that
Of
too.
course, yeah.
They
That
will
Oh,
that's
pick
they
up
yes,
run
on
to
it,
the
yes.
and
parent that they
they'll
know
see
gonna
that y'all.
defend them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and they'll put
Yes.
y'all at odds against each
yep.
other. Kids are
He's
very smart.
the fun parent and this the strict parent. That's how they look at it. They look at it. I want
Hmm.
to go around this parent because this parent is always gonna
That's what.
let me
Yeah,
do what I want
exactly.
to do. But until they get older
Hmm.
and they start understanding that this is the responsible parent, and I have to run to this
Yeah,
when I need this responsible parent now because they have to be there to to handle these situations for me now. So they have to now come back around and cling on to this parent. But sometimes it's kind of too late.
Right.
The relationship is
yeah,
already
it's true.
strained and
Yeah,
it's all
strength.
far
Yeah.
out, and it's crazy. But Mr. Reza, would you handle that situation? If you think that you should beat your kids in public or around their friends?
No, I don't. I don't believe that. But I will say, if it's warranted, yes, because if I'm now, you have some kids where you know you could do the right thing, and you could you could do the you could be strict and tell them all the good, the right thing to do at home,
And
and
they
tell
still
them
do
that,
whatever they want to do when they
and they
go out. Yeah.
still go out. They still could be influenced by other entity friends or something. So if for me,
Or it's just
I'm
their
not I'm
personality. Sometimes it ain't
or
even
just,
nobody else.
yeah,
In.
yeah, it's just who they are. So for me, I don't like, for me, I haven't hit my son in over a year, and most of the time, if I might give him a slap one time or whatever. Hey, but like for me, my son is well behaved, well trained. But if I tell you to do something 5 times, and I got to tell you the sixth time, I feel like, hey, I got to remind you what these hands feel like. I'm gonna slap you one time,
Mm,
and get the message across.
yeah.
So sometimes, you have to remind them that, hey, because sometimes if sometimes if you
Boy, you want to see these fists, boy?
sometimes so sometimes if you
Reminder.
you gotta hit it. You gotta put in the reminder sometimes.
Yeah. Boy, you remember these fists, boy? Huh? You remember them?
You remember? You
Remember
remember?
me? Remember me?
And so
Hey, you ain't lying about that, boy. Yeah.
you got to. So for me, you got to put in the reminder, because I mean, if they go along and they are perfect, there's no reason. But it's just like humans. Humans are going to mess up from time to time. So kids, if they're doing the right thing, and mommy ain't gonna touch me, mommy ain't gonna hit me, daddy ain't gonna hit me, they're gonna try their luck to see what they could get away with. So
Mm-hmm.
I told you 2 or 3 times, 4 times. Well, okay, so you think that I'm not gonna do nothing? So you got me figured out. Like, hey, you
Yeah,
just gonna talk,
boy.
you know.
Don't I
So
know that story? Oh man.
Mm-mm.
so
Them boys, my
so
boys turned teenagers and they stood over me.
yeah.
Man,
So
this fool go tell
so
man. All right, I'll put in when you finish, Mr.
all right.
Reza.
So yeah, man. So that's my thing. As far as the public thing or the internet,
Overboard.
yeah, that's
Reckless
just
parenting
horrible.
to me.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
think
that's
that
that's horrible. That's nothing that you never want to do. Like
So with the
that's
with the question I asked them earlier, how about if you in a relationship and the other parent wants to beat the kid or don't want to beat the kid? How you handle that?
if one parent wants to beat the other. I mean, sometimes I think you could look at it as a balance too. But I agree with what you say. Sometimes you got to know who you're having kids with. So I agree with Demby when he was making that point. Like, you got to know who you're having kids with. So because there's gonna be a clash. because you're always gonna clash, and that could, that could cause a relationship to go left,
Definitely.
and yeah, so because you're trying to do something while the other parent is telling you no, they're not gonna stand, that
Mm.
stuff could be a messy situation, but I think there can be a balance, sometimes I even give a different perspective of it, where one parent might be stricter and the next parent might be not as strict. Sometimes you could have that balance in between, where they'll say, well, I'm not, but the other parents also gotta know that the one that's not as strict to be like, hey, I'm gonna follow. There's a program that we have here, and you can't go over there to try to get over, because that other parents is also backing up what dad is saying. So but you can have that balance in, for example, like, you know you could have that example, like, say, they for love, you might be the dad. Most people look at dad as, you know
The
well, dad is
disciplinary.
a
That is
yeah, a
usually the
little strict.
disciplinary,
Yeah,
the stricter one.
the
That
stricter one. Yeah, and mom is more the
the
softer one
lenient
that
one
gives.
that let
Yeah,
you get away with
right.
murder. That's how it usually works.
Yeah. So, I'm fine with that. I'm fine if with as long as, I'm giving my love too, but, so mom might be a little more emotional than dad is, and I'm fine with that. That's cool. So, but, I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah.
If he feel like his mom could give that more emotional love, or that more kid, that's fine. And he could come to me with other things, but like I said, there could be a balance that strike in between all of that. Long as you know both parents is not bumping heads with each other.
Yeah, I
Or
think that that makes sense. For
yeah,
me,
Mhm.
it's a thing of you have to know you have to work on being a parent. As a parent, I'm never gonna beat my kid in public, and as parent, I'm not gonna beat my kid around his friends. Now I might give him a grip or a smack in the back of the head or a little grab or something like that to reassure him when he's around his friends when he's doing something that he's not supposed to do. But a haul out beating, I'm never gonna do that. And I'm a person that
What
think
if he buck on you?
my son can't buck on me. My son's smarter than
What
that.
if he buck on you
My
in
son,
front of his
let me tell you,
friends?
man.
Like,
My son is a very, very, like, I hear all my friends that say this. My son is a very well behaved kid, so I don't have too many behavioral problem with my son. Yeah, and
yeah,
my
when he
son
starts
knows
smelling
that I
himself.
ain't that. My son know that I ain't the one. I ain't the one that you should buck on. So if my son ever gonna buck, it ain't gonna be on me. So I don't never have
Okay.
to worry about that. but the thing is, a lot of people don't know how to be a parent. A lot of guys don't know how to be a parent, and a lot of women don't know how to be a parent because some of them are just there. They're there as a defender. The mothers are usually the defender, and the fathers are usually the prosecutor. And the fathers don't realize that there's times when you have to let up on your kids. You have to let them be a kid. You have to let them grow. And
Hmm.
I ask a lot of older people questions about being a parent because I often feel like I'm falling short of being a parent. And I often watch how my friends, and I don't ever criticize my friends or say anything, but I also watch how some of my friends are with their kids and I say to myself, I don't want to be like that. That's not how you be a parent. You have to be involved in your kid's life. Being around your kid and disciplining them doesn't make you a parent. That make you somebody that's just there to discipline a child when the child is out of hand. And a lot of people don't know the difference between that. So you yourself as a person have to know that you are a parent to a little human being, like Denby said earlier, and you have to now make up your mind how you're gonna deal with certain situations that they deal with. See, with me, I knew that I didn't want my kid to be a certain way, so I start with training him to do the right things at an early age. I started, no, you can't do that, and no, we won't do that. And I'm when I hit my child, I feel bad. When you remember when people used to be like, "This is gonna hurt me more than it hurt you." Well, that's how it worked for me.
Hmm.
When I hit my child, I feel bad. So I rarely hit my child. Rarely. My son haven't got a proper beating in years. He might have got a slap on the hand or a slap on the butt, and maybe 2 or 3 slaps on the butt, and I'll call that a beating because I don't want to beat him. But and my son have a thing when you hear Razor saying a while ago that they think not gonna beat you. I hear my son telling his friends that, man, he's just saying that he ain't gonna do nothing. He'll come and he's just gonna come and yell, and he ain't gonna do nothing. He gonna come in. I'm hearing this fool telling his friends that, and I'm like, this fool. So it's a thing of you just have to know how to deal with your kid. So, but when it's punishment time, I take away everything from my son, and I'm not one of those parents that take nothing out of your room. My son can't turn the TV on unless I tell him to turn it on. He can't touch the game. He can't touch his phone. It'll be right beside him, and he doesn't touch it. You know why? Because he's already brought up that way. So I don't have to worry about my son doing when my son get punished, it's usually for ridiculous, like stupid stuff, for doing something that he does unconsciously, and I feel like he's gonna eventually hurt himself because he doesn't pay attention. So I have to punish him for it, so he can not do that out when he goes out in the world and hurt himself. So I agree with everybody here that I think discipline. I definitely believe that your kid should be disciplined when it's time to be disciplined. But I'm not a believer in over disciplining. And how my parents used to beat me, I would never beat my kids like that. Ever. Not in a million years. That wasn't beating, that was abuse. And
yes, mommy.
And that was abuse. Yep, they got that from slavery days. They got it from slavery days, brought it here, and it stopped with me. I crushed that. Ain't going no, it's done. I would never beat my kid how they beat me. But, that's how they grew their kid. I was their kid, and that's what they chose to do at the time. So it is what it is. But my kid will never go through that as long as there's breath in my body. But they know.
Out all right, though.
Yeah, he turns out great.
So you might need to give him some of them good beatings.
Nah, we ain't going to do that. We ain't going to do that. But everybody know this is the AGP podcast, the Anything Goes podcast. Like, subscribe, share, listen to the whole podcast, man. Tell your friend to tell a friend. We're here with T, we're here with Demby, we're here with Miss Ariza. We out.